Discord. So, yes. So we had such an amazing time last week. I'm so excited to bring us together again and to bring forth more revelations and open up and go even um, deeper with our insights and whatnot. And part of creating this was to talk about our experiences and what patterns we're noticing within the collective. And so something that had come up specifically, very profoundly for me today was the idea of flow. And so this came up for me at least in 5 different areas of seeing the word flow coming to and resistance and how um like so a couple questions came to me from this idea and of flow and how we are working through that and what does that mean for us in this life in this current space time reality. And some of the questions um mm, when I think of the word flow, this is in resistance to what just is coming, right? So when I think of when I'm not in flow, it is because the mind is trying to control what the heart is wanting to do, or the mind thinks that the heart is leading the way. So resistance is very strong for me right now. And the question that I have to begin with is, where in your life do you feel that you are most resistant? And how do you resonate with the idea of flow? Like when you hear flow, what comes to you?
Brother Chris, you want to carry it? You want a minute? We love this. We love
Oh,
this. We didn't know what the topic would be, but this is delicious. We'll say it that way. We love this.
we're having trouble hearing you.
Hear me?
A little bit muffled.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, better. That was better.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So let's see. Where I'm okay.
Do you have headphones that you used last time?
Yeah.
Let's put those on because it's very difficult to hear you.
Okay. Oh, there you go. It's a great discussion. Flow. We have some
Yeah.
great. I love the
Hello?
there. Yes. Right
All
on.
right.
Go ahead.
All right. Here, Jerry, you go first, I think.
Okay.
I got headphones.
Fair enough. Let's open this up. We're talking about flow. We're talking about resistance. Oh, you talk about whatever is resistant, like what kind of resistance do you feel? I can feel it in my body first and foremost.
Mhm.
Every time there's an oscillation of the elements within my body and I become agitated and experience energy movement in my body when the thought or what I'm experiencing or how I view something beyond myself, like a suggestion or somebody says something, something that doesn't feel right within my energy, my body that says that something is askew, something is out of alignment with the higher self or the higher nature of things. Now, that's deep. That's deep because today I got done writing a thing about there's nothing more painful than having deep intuition and feeling ickiness and where that is. And I know we're going to go here right now, Elaine, because we messaged and I was sharing that. And then having that, your intuition to come out to be true. So,
Mhm.
so that resistance that I feel may be a matter of futility. Even if and what I mean to say is my intuition may be spot on and I still feel an agitation because maybe there isn't a truth recognized. And so now it becomes a matter of alchemy. That's the resistance. And that's why energy work is important. Now that said, when it comes to the daily experiences in Jeremy's life, and I say there are a number of things, innumerable things I could focus on or give my attention to or take action in my life. Maybe I'm going through a relationship challenge. Maybe I'm going through a work challenge, coworker, some challenge between something and other.
Mhm.
And I can get caught up in processing that, all these things. Or there's another option on the table that I can live in my passion and allow the world to be the world. That if the less I focus on if I say I'm in my lessons, if I'm in my lessons, well, that's painful because my lessons I want others to learn too. So I want to fix, control, and manage it. So, and yet that's exhausting. So am I choosing to be in my lessons Or am I choosing more flow and to allow the nature of things to be the nature of things without trying to control it, manage it, and step into my passion and still do things that I feel in my highest alignment? Like what makes Jeremy
Mm.
happy? Learning something new, having heart to heart centered conversations with others, sharing, teaching, learning, teaching, whatever that is that Jeremy, and to allow the passion to live that life, a different path, a different option, and be in my passion. And let the lessons be over here, because sometimes it's just like yuck. And so I have a choice that I can make. I can live in my passion. Sometimes it becomes burdensome. It gets so heavy in the lessons that I have no choice but to look at it, feel it.
Mhm.
And that's okay too. But then I got to ask myself good questions. How much time and effort am I willing to spend in my lessons? Damn it, the lessons will always come. But if I'm suffering, I can choose to live in the passion and allow the universe to be the universe and get back into flow.
So this is so, if, I'm sorry, may I
Uh,
chime in?
Yes, I did. Yes, of course. And I just wanted to add to that
Yeah,
really
yeah.
quickly, briefly, that what I feel like that's a real unpleasantry in my life, a challenging situation, maybe a
Mhm.
relationship or some situation between self and other. If I let that just set that over gently aside and I start living my passion, something new may come into my existence in my orbit that will make this look so meaningless and irrelevant and futile to even look at again. And that's not zeal making deflecting. That's just like saying, here it is. I choose not to suffer or look at that yuckiness or try to fix it. Because again, my lessons may be I want to fix and control others' lessons and teach
Yeah.
them. So, and that's exhausting.
Me.
And that dissolves into the passion and the new experience. So that's all I would.
Yes, we were talking about that, right? Like, so it's the alchemizing of like the timelines. Like, I feel that it does just dissolve. It dissolves whatever that is, you know, um, the controlling. But when we give the energy, I feel like the passion that I was giving to this one relationship that I'm specifically thinking of, and I'm putting it into creation, putting out, I'm just going to go there, the sexual energy that was in the relationship and putting that into a creative space and using the creation, the creational energy into the passion. That is what the alchemize for me has been. Because it's the same. We're creating a beautiful space here. But also what I was thinking, what was coming to me when you were speaking was sometimes like I try, there it is. Forcing the surrender. Like I can't plan the surrender. Like I can be like, I surrender so many times, but it doesn't happen until I'm like desperate. I feel like I say it as a gift of desperation because, I mean, I've made choices over and over it again where it's the same choices, but like, and I think I'm making different choices, but they're just wrapped in a different cloth. So it's interesting. So flowing, and what you're talking about, it all comes down to, I mean, kind of what we were talking about last week, fear too, like fear comes down to fear.
Fear. Fear.
I
Yeah, fear. All that magic word fear. You said you said the word try. That's a dangerous word, try.
That's
Mhm.
Try it. Yeah, yeah, I heard you laughing. It's like try sets us up for failure, and most of us are afraid of failure, even though failure is a beautiful thing. We can celebrate failure as that's where we grow. The flow. Well, the flow. It's interesting we talk about the flow because today's been a flowtastic day in a sense. I never said that word before, flowtastic, but I like it. I might say it again, flowtastic. Now been recorded. All right. um, uh, so today and the power of three, how we're talking about the ebb and
mm,
flow as we speak, and so today in Antioch, Illinois, the downtown made a brand new downtown like park area, playground. They got the water, they got the stream. They made it very pretty. They got water shooting out. They got the gas fire pit out there where you got chairs. And they just opened it up last weekend. So I went there and I went there today at probably like 10:30, 11 o'clock by myself. And it's right around that lunchtime time to where people are on their lunch break, reading their little books and eating their food. Then you got all the moms with the kids playing in the water, playing all that. And then you got me at the park, 41-year-old man. All right. Checking it out, having fun. I'm playing with the toys too. I'm like, it's cool, right? I'm being a kid again. I'm playing in the water. I put my hand in the water and watch it shoot. Like, yeah. Other kids wanted to play with it. I was in the flow. I was in a kid flow. I was in my child state. All right. Some of the moms like, hey, yeah, all right, that man's having fun. Yeah. All right. But at the same point, I'm also a messenger, sharing messages on a mission. All right. So, again, I've done a great job at breaking the the standards of how things go in so many different ways. As I walk up to kids with their moms, and as a mom, a 41-year-old man, stranger, come talk to your kids. Whoa, 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 danger, danger! I'm at the park. Oh no, sounds a little creepy at the moment, but I'm in flow, all love, in a flow, and so in doing so, that like I started talking to kids like, "Hey, you want to know the secret to life? All love, never sorry." And I break it down. All right, and every time, all the moms say thank you. Hey, what are your socials? All right, yeah, 369 Messenger, Christian Romano Facebook. All right, cool. All right, so so there's that part. And the kids, I even say, "Hey, kids, can you say it with me? All love, never sorry." So that had that flow. But then also in doing so, now there's there's like a mom and a child having lunch. I see, all right, they're having salad, very healthy. So I'm like, all right, these people are conscious. All right, I see the consciousness, healthy food. All right, I go talk to them and I break down some things there and other moms and whatnot. And there's two people that I had a great conversation with, and one was like she deals with trauma on kids and the families and all that. I'm like, oh, and she actually even kind of corrected some things that when I said, or broke it down to a greater length, and that was a flow. So the flow was going. And then she stopped and got my socials later. And then there's an older lady I talked to, and she even went to the part of the flow of like, she asked me, "Do you know what's the difference between the soul and the spirit?"
Mm.
I'm like, "Ooh, I've had this conversation a couple times, but I'm like, ooh, you're calling me out right now. I'm not ready for this, but shoot. And so I was like, all right, put it on me. All right. And she did. She's like, the soul, man, I even actually recorded it. It's emotions, your will, and my soul is mind, will, and emotion. Yeah. Yeah, I had it right. She said, mind, will, and emotions, and the spirit is from God. The spirit's the God, and the soul is that. And there's a little, and so people get that part a little mixed up. So I'm like, yeah, even me. It's like, all right, to put it in that simple words, I had to record it. I was like, I'm going to record this part. I'm going to write this down and save it. The soul. So, and that was how the flow went. I mean, she was giving me dabs like, oh, I'm going to, so like, we're trading gems. Like, I'm going to keep that. Oh, you're going to keep that. Yeah. Back and forth, and, that was me and Flo. Me and Flo is talking to strangers, having that one-on-one conversation, having that conversation with the public. And that's where I shine. I get my shine on. Um, Now in resistance, when I took my daughter, she wanted to get that pumpkin latte at Starbucks or something like that. So when I picked her up and she's like, yeah, today's the first day it came out. I'm like, all right, well, here's the resistance part. The people I love the most, they don't like me talking to everybody. So at Starbucks, there's a long line. So I'm talking to the person at the drive-thru. I'm saying, hey, I'm dropping some gems on her. And my daughter's like, stop, don't do. I'm like, why? What am I doing? I'm just sharing some love. But they're like, oh, you're pushing it. I'm like, I'm just sharing love. Like, I like to push love. Love is everywhere. I'm just showing it. I'm just being it, So I think I'm talking for a little bit, so I'm going to stop now. But I haven't talked about resistance yet, but that's part of the flow part that I really felt today.
That's so beautiful, Chris. I resonate with that. You see what we wrote in the chat there, Elaine?
Yeah. Yeah, I see that now.
Yeah,
And that's
and
why I was
that's
looking at it, I was like, "Oh, yeah."
Chris, I can resonate with what Chris was saying, like, just having, like, not worrying about, like, what that looks like externally. You're coming
Mm.
at it with compassion, and you're being authentic, and there's no, like, hidden agenda there, and it's like people are kind in that energy of that. They're more receptive to that, and that's, like, very much like flow state. I definitely resonate with what you're saying. There's not a hidden agenda, and that's a really beautiful thing. Um, yeah, anyway, yeah.
So so for me, it's, I think that this comes with the feminine energy, right? Like, so, I'm really in this phase of learning how to receive and how to trust my intuition and when, like, I'm not to trust my intuition when it's a creative space for me versus an ego space, where I'm like forcing myself to be a part of things that I'm like, I need to be a part of because that's what I'm supposed to do in that sense. And I think, you know, so it's been because typically in the past, I have been someone that has I'm an achiever. I go and get things done. I go and I do these things to go and get these other things and a continuous of mind of achievement and obtaining and consuming. And for me recently, it's been a consistent unbecoming. Like every time that I'm think that I can go and do these things, I'm knocked down to be like, no, you be still. You allow for it to move through you when versus like me moving and thinking that it'll just I mean, it's both, but for me specifically at this point in time, it's trusting what I'm feeling and moving and allowing spirit to move through me in that flow state, but also trusting the pause and trusting in the receiving and trusting that when there are what I perceive as blocks or when there are obstacles, that's not it's not meant for me to overcome. It's meant for me to just not I don't wanna say surrender, but it's teaching me to slow down and to accept that what is easy is right, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I adored what you said too about like the compulsion. Sometimes sometimes in our lives we have this we want we're always on to the next thing, and then we don't then we
Mm,
kind of pull ourselves out of flow state. We're not actually hearing, like, we're so rushed to get to the next appointment, to get to another comfortable moment or something that you're not comfortable in this now moment, because if you don't achieve this, it's all tied together. And it's like in that we're losing the presence. We're not actually very deeply present or aware. Like our insecurities come through that flow space, that 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 why, the discernment, all these things. There's a lot of confusion in the rushing and the compulsion. There just is. And there's a lot that goes unnoticed. Things that experiences or people that we come into alignment with or opportunities or to see things when we're rushing so fast. And that's that I feel that that rushing, the complexity of the mind or the insecurities in so many ways, and we just don't slow down enough. And so it's not like we ever find a tidal pool. We're always in the rushing water all the time, and so many of us. And that just, you see what I'm saying? And yeah,
mhm.
in that regard, and so giving and receiving love freely, or being here and now and seeing the beauty, or hearing others, versus dismissing everything to rush to the next thing that's going to make you comfortable because you're so worried about getting there. And yeah. So there's something to be said about that, and it's because we haven't really taken an exit ramp into the tidal pool and just kind of chilled out for a little bit and just took a breath, and seriously, and
Yeah.
then we have this complexity in the mind, and it turns into a horror film in our mind.
That sounds like a liar to me. So-
Byron.
Oh.
Um, um, yeah, I like how you said rushing waters, the rushing waters that we're in, the rushing waters. The water, how the water flows, and to stay in flow, the obstacles when there's a big heavy rock in the way, the rushing waters get a little, it's a rocky road sometimes, but the water just wants to run. It just wants to flow. It just wants to go. Let it out. Let just and expressing the creative energy, expressing the intuition, expressing the heart, expressing your voice, expressing your mind, expressing your crown, your roots, all of them. They just want to go, just flow, and and back to the original part, fear. That fear word, the fear stops all that, and when and me and this my actually it's my most recent post. Actually, there's my way and the way, my way and the way, and like you said, Elaine, with the other way, easy, it's easy,
Mm.
but the way, my way, the way, my way, the way, but the way, it's got to be open. This has got to be still.
Mm.
I got to still it, and when I still it, I don't say distill it. Because now I'm getting stupid drunk. I don't drink, but so I'm not no distillery, right? But the way, the way, the way, the way. I can't have two masters. I can't have two masters. Which one am I doing? Which one? Which one? And now this one is fear. My first thought, and a wise woman told me. I love wise women. Oh man, I love them. Thank you, divine feminine. Thank you. But a wise woman.
You're
Hey, you
welcome.
know what? I'll give a shout out. Sarah Rodriguez. But Sarah said, my first thought is my intuition. My second, third thought is my ego. Especially when I'm in tune. My first thought is the way. My second, third thought, that's my ego. My mind's playing tricks on me. So, but what I can do it the way, free will. I have free will. Back to soul. Will. Will is one of the three parts of the soul. The three is one, right? Soul. So in the will, I have a choice, my way or the way. Now, the way is still going to get there. I'm going to get there, but it's going to be a lot harder. I might break my arm on my way. I might lose a loved one. She might kick me out. Oh man, dang it. Oh, I might go in the doghouse. I'm doing it my way, but if I do it the way,
Yeah.
and I land.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you, brother. Yeah.
So
Ahead,
this
Lane.
is, I just want to touch base because it all comes together, right? So interesting. So I don't know, and I'm just going to share a little bit on this, but I don't know if intuition is a thought necessarily and like a sensing, right? Because it's so subtle. And so for me at least, like I have to slow down enough to feel into what I'm sensing, the intuition part of it. And so goes so much like hand in hand as I feel, because when we are just continuously pushing and forcing and controlling, we don't ever slow down to feel into what our intuition is, right? We're just continuously bombarded by the mind and by the disaster that we can create within that space, the chaos. So yeah, I think going for me, it has been about allowing a slowdown to even move into a space of trusting what I'm sensing, what I'm feeling, and moving through and allowing the flow. Like, what is flow versus like achieving, you know? So interesting. Okay.
No, thank you, Elaine. And I love that. So, like, and everybody's unique, and what they've learned to work with or listen to
Mhm.
is a developmental thing. Either you're innately understanding the language of how things come through, whether or not we're talking the clairsentient, clairvoyant, clairaudient, like our intuition, whether or not it's having, yeah, having, yeah, like I didn't see that coming, Chris. No, but the helmet and
Yeah, I see that
but, but,
now.
but but sometimes we can, and that's what I was speaking of when we
Mm.
first started about what's really uncomfortable in resistance. Sometimes my intuition is so clear, speaks so clearly, and I've learned to trust the higher heart, the message, the clairaudience, the clairvoyance, the clairsentience, images,
Mm.
imagery or knowingness that can pass through the observing mind in an instant with me. But I've learned to listen to that. And it's like almost like there's two aspects of consciousness that are working. There's Jeremy's human self and my observing mind toward the life and interacting. And then there's a higher mind that is also interpreting information, feeling, sensing, and knowing. And that was what I was speaking when I first started. I said that's an unpleasant thing when you talk about resistance, like when your intuition is so spot on. So somebody, and I just want to share this. I'm going to slow this down for a moment. Somebody, a dear sister, reached out and she asked me, Jeremy, what are your feelings on the human design? Are you familiar with it? And
Mhm.
yes, okay. So those of you that are maybe familiar, I'm like, yes, I had a sister friend. She said that, okay, she's explained the human design to me. And she said, Jeremy, you're a master manifest generator or something like this. There was some
Mhm.
language. And I thought, that's wonderful. Thank you. And, so in this, I can say it this way, that when it comes to flow state, when it comes to really listening, becoming a good observer, when it comes to having the higher mind and higher heart, be another aspect of our consciousness that interprets things real time in a now moment and can become very intelligent, seriously gifted in
Mhm.
that regard. Once we learn to listen to those messages and know how they work for us. And so she asked me, what are your thoughts on human design? I said, listen, this is the way I look at it. So when we look at people in astrology or what's your natal chart or what are these things are wonderful things like human design that can help encourage us or create momentum for us to believe in self, almost empower ourselves. And they can also show the shadow aspect of a kind of behavioral tendencies that we may be experiencing that cause suffering. All of that stuff is wonderful. But that is literally me thinking, and this is what I want to say. This is like at some point in my journey, I said, well, that's me trying to understand. I think that the earth is shaping the river, that the soil and the rock is shaping the river. It gives it its structure. And that's like looking at stuff beyond me. However, at some point in my journey, I said, no, let's let go of all this information. Thank you for the pays attention to's, all these things. And I'm not discounting astrology or human design or things like that. But I would say to the sister, if I get in the water, and I float with the river, I get in flow state and I just become an observer and I allow that. Now I can understand the water more deeply and the intuition. And now I realized that it was never the earth shaping the river, it was the water shaping the earth. Thus, that somebody could say you're a master generator, you're this or that. Well, that makes me feel great. Look how powerful I am. All these, no, 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 no. None of these things. What I'm saying is that there's a certain humility and understanding of the structure by being the water, by and realizing that it is us that is actually shaping the earth, the water, not the other way around. So in that, I at some point on my journey, and I just said, let's learn to listen to the inner voice more clearly. And thus then now we're seeing what the structure of love is, unpleasantries, suffering, all these things. And we're like, you know what? Anybody can say this. Yes, these may be my tendencies. Jeremy's now Virgo, right? We talked about the Virgo. I might be logical. I might be structured. And I want to be told what, there's all sorts of things in the Virgo shadow aspect. And I'm like, that's okay. But as long as Jeremy seeks balance and stays in the river in the flow state and just to understand the water, then I don't have to be defined by any of these, even though I'm grateful for those perceptions beyond me that say, pay attention to these, Jeremy. Because I'll innately recognize when I'm not loving, recognize when I'm exhausted or I'm doing too much service work for others like the Virgo and not taking care of myself or whatever that looks like in the
Mhm.
shadow aspect of a Virgo. So because the water is going to teach me, and thus I'm not having to be shaped. The river's not shaped by the external world, the rock. I'm not clunking around making all these beautiful gifts of mistakes, and causing conflict or suffering in my life. But I'm just understanding it to prevent the suffering from the first place. So thus the river is shaping the earth. And I'm not defined by that. So that's just another way to look.
Elaine, right.
What was that?
You want to go or you want me to go?
I just have a little bit to touch back on. So it's interesting because for me, and so I feel not the opposite, but a different perspective for me is because I'm very well versed in astrology and human design and whatever those modalities are. And like people can get completely caught up in the labels of whatever that is. I totally get that. For me, it was deconstructing the mind that allowed me to become the water, that allowed me to
Yes.
recognize in those places like that, those patterns, those whatever those labels were just labels to point me to the truer version of the water that I am, of that I
Amen.
am
Yes.
all of that. And so
Yes.
because once I understood why I was preventing myself from allowing myself to be part of the ecosystem of love or whatever that is, then I could just surrender to the flow in that sense. But
Yeah.
it's both though. It's a symbiotic relationship between trusting in I in the flow state. That's me floating on a river, and also allowing the mind to play with the mind at chess with it, because it's both. It's both for me at least. So it's very beautiful sides of the experience.
So,
Go ahead, Chris.
I'm gonna bring it all together. I like how Jamie said the earthquakes, the earth was, and then he turned it to the water. All right. The- In last week's podcast, so if you go back and listen to last week's podcast, all right, it's um, there's a part that was spoken about how trust is the soil, and love and the
Mhm.
fruit is the love that comes from the soil. All right. So what do we know about fruit? It's that H3O, right? That H3O, and it's that water, and it's that best water we can get, the watermelon. Watermelon. All right, but so now back to the water and the flow and the current. All right, and so the earth is the trust, and that's like the physical in a sense. The water is like the love, or sometimes people might want to say God, but the source. All
Mhm.
right. So the water, and being in the flow state, the way, the flow state, the love way, the flow state. So and the earth is the trust, the physical. That's the earth. So the trust. All right. We got to trust ourselves, right? We got to trust ourselves. If we can't trust ourselves, how we can go to the flow state? So trust and flow. But then once we trust ourselves, trust the soil. Now the fruit, the fruit of that womb, the fruit of that loin, the fruit can show up. We can bear fruit because we have that trust. If there's no trust, with even an apple tree, if the apple tree doesn't trust the tree and trust the surroundings, those are some yucky apples.
Mm.
Those are some yucky apples. But when it trusts the environment and trusts the water it's getting, and trusting and get the flow, that's a delicious apple. And what I mean, Newton's law and knowledge and knowingness. I mean, we're not talking about evil. I mean, but Eve apple, but Adam apple. But that's another story. We're not going
Mhm.
there. I'm just playing with words. But so yes. So back to Earth is the trust, but the flow is the one that helps design the trust. So the more that we trust the flow, the more that the Earth is Gaia and Mother Nature is happy. They're loving it. And even at that, it's like one of the more, and little side note, as kind of in a fun flow mode right now is, I've been asking a lot of people, I'm like, I I probably shouldn't share this right now because this is like one of my like top good cards right now, but you love water, right? Yeah, yeah. Well, and you love 72% of me already.
I would like to circle back to what you said, Elaine, about how, human design and understanding, like there's so much, and I agree. It reminds me of trees when we're talking about the river and the water, and Chris is using triangulation between
Mhm.
earth,
Mhm.
us, water, God. And there's a beauty in that. Like a willow tree, you could snap a branch off and go anywhere in mucky, watery soil and stick it in, and it will grow. But if you do that, some like an olive tree or something else might not grow. It would be too much moisture. So the trees grow in different climates as well during on water drainage. And I too, I wouldn't be where I'm at today if it wasn't for external things or getting some understanding. Things that help me understand, like, that I'm not crazy, that I do have intuition, that
Yes.
all these things that where I used to shut down, dismiss, not open up to, and things like that, or thinking I was crazy. So there was a lot of the earth that was shaping the river in that context. Like, and I love that metaphysical analogy. And 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 so in that regard, I was the earth. The external world was helping me understand and shape the water of the river until I could be comfortable and had enough understanding to where my trusting intuition and discernment made sense to me, and I started to become more of the water.
Yeah.
And so that's all I wanted to say on that. And I agree with you,
Yes.
my friend. Yeah. And 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 really quickly, I just want to say
Yeah.
that still stuff still helps. When I reach out to my friends like
Mhm.
Chris or Elaine, or I see one of your posts and it's talking archetypes or something else, I'm like, aha, there's the wisdom again. That's what I'm experiencing. Thank you, Earth. And then I realize that Jeremy's again being shaped and thinking that, and it helps me. It goes back and forth between the metaphor between the earth. Is the earth shaping the river, or is the river? And that helps me to become that the river is now shaping the earth, and it's beautiful. So,
Yes. I and I think we talked about the pendulum swings, and I think too that's how it's been for me with all of the things, the external circumstances, and even using spirituality as a tool for bypassing or transcending the human experience, right? Um, that it had I've like over identified to a lot of the earth things, to a lot of those modalities where then I'm, now coming back when I'm integrating all of the wisdom and the wisdom and the knowledge and embodying all of that is where and allow and then the flow state comes in where I am a little bit of the earth and then I'm a little bit of the water and then I'm also grounded in both, and it's just yeah. And sometimes it can be too much of one or the other, never too much. I mean, but there can be overly but is that true with the willow branch if
wait,
you
you got to
would
take that back. Elaine, you said sometimes you're too much. You got
no,
to
I
take
take
that
it back.
back.
No, I
yeah,
That's a program. That's a program
yes.
in your head from the people around you that are helping instill that in you. You're not too much. They're not enough.
Well, it's it it neither. But it's all perfect, and that I trust how I am, whether that be perceived as being too much from someone else, then they're not my person, and they can just go be their thing without me having to adjust and without, it's just that, not my
but
bin.
Chris, it's like it's why is Jeremy trying to hide smoking cigarettes? Let's honest be honest, because it's an imprint in a program. Because I'd rather it be that those who may be offended by cigarettes would hear the
Mhm.
message, considering that. So in that moment, again, the earth is shaping the river because I'm not being authentic. But I could be authentic and just smoke the damn cigarette and just allow the earth and the river to be the earth and the river and just live authentically. And so there's something to be said about that in the human behavior, because sometimes we're considering,
Mm.
others. That just goes back down to what is it we every communication is an invitation. Some people are going to feel innately bad about it. Dream machine, beautiful. And so others are might think it's beautiful and how authentic and how beautiful, how Italian it would be to smoke a cigarette. And I don't know what that means, but
Uh, Oh, and I think that's, with so many things here, it's like me learning to also embrace those darker aspects of life, like me, like relentlessly holding on to a relationship that is clearly not for me, right? But like also owning that, like, okay, I understand where this pattern is coming through, and I'm also learning how to release or what that is providing for me. Which brings me to my next question that also is like, what is it when what and I'm curious, just like in your answers, what is it that you fear if you were to release those things that we hold on to, like
Oh,
I'm
well, you know, Jeremy has some just really aggressive dragons, and he has dragons. Well, listen, there are wolves inside of me. There are packs of wolves, and there are some that really experience a lot of discomfort where we've had enough, and we're just going to say it. And sometimes destruction's a form of creation. Sometimes we're just going to
Mhm.
say exactly what it is, and we're going to call others out and behaviors and everything out and just say how we feel and allow that nectar of life to just come out the way it wants to come out. But when you ask me what fear about holding on to that, there's a sickness that grows within me, a pain, a cancer that kind of consumes me or eats me. And I have two choices. I can either dissolve it with the love, like Chris was saying about love, love,
Mhm.
be this, not this, but this. I can dissolve it that way. And then there's other times where I ask myself, so when you ask me what I fear, there's other times I'm saying, well, then why did God give me a voice? Why are we here to work together as one, if not to mirror, if not to speak, if not to challenge, if not to call and express, even if that looks unpleasant to others? Because you know what? This whole everything it can dissolve in love and then dissolve in light. Well, then why did we choose to be here in duality and in a plane of existence that have duality? Why are we here to? How can we really learn if we
Mhm.
don't say that sucks? Your behavior sucked. Yes, sucked. Flat out sucked. Very, very poor communication skills. Deal, make, deflect, run away, not avoid, all these things, all cause so much suffering because of your inability or your unwillingness to really just have a heart to heart, beautiful conversation in the spirit of reciprocity and be accountable. But that's okay. So that's what I fear. I fear sometimes that. And you know what? Maybe I shouldn't fear when that side of me, that expression comes out, because why else do we have a voice? Why are we working together as one? Why are we experiencing duality?
So
If
would
not,
that be I'm sorry. Go ahead.
no, I'm just no good. That's all. Sometimes that's what I fear. I fear not saying it and sitting and having it eat me like a freaking cancer because it's yucky and unpleasant. And yes,
Right.
everybody's behavior is acceptable behavior, but sometimes it's just flat out unappreciated. And if we don't say something, to ignore is to give license. And it's like, yuck.
So I no, I was going to just kind of confirm what that I was understanding what you were saying. So okay. And I just have a question then too. So I feel like we're so conditioned to also like not hurt people's feelings, which I think that there's both speaking our true authentic voice versus like, standing in our power not to hurt others, but to share how their actions has affected us, and how,
Yeah.
so it's the people pleasing aspect that we're conditioned to is also part, for me, of the fear of like speaking from
Can,
authentic.
can I say something really quick? And then
Mhm.
I know Chris
Yeah.
wants to share some,
Yep.
but like, I feel what I fear is also that what can be a beautiful relationship when we have relationships in our lives. And now I'm just going to speak and say how I exactly feel. And I think, and I fear losing that. There's times where I
Mhm.
feel, because that's what was once such a healthy relationship can now fall away. And it's like, because I valued that relationship, I do fear those things. That sucks. Nobody wants to see that. We all wish we could come to the peace table and own our stuff and be authentic and not and work through it. And so that's why I fear holding on to it. It's like a
Mhm.
paradox. I fear holding on to it and letting me get me sick inside, not saying it. And I also fear that, damn it, the fact that nature is things will come and go and nothing is permanent. And that sucks because I see something and I feel like if I just swallow enough bullets, if I just sit back here and allow that, like sit back, eventually this person may come to have a come to Jesus moment, and the relationship will be back to where it was reciprocal and beautiful. And, you know, I can't do that. But there's a saying sometimes too, to lay by the river and allow the bodies of your enemies to float on by, which is a pretty aggressive statement. But what that means is you don't have to take action. But sometimes that's the poison that I feel, because I'm like, God, it sucks. If I could just say to this person, it sucks and why, and if they could hear me maybe and communicate and be honest about things, maybe we could improve this. But I don't know. And it's like, so then people fall away. So it's paradoxical. I'm like, I fear holding on to it and keeping that inside. And I fear me saying it and then have you. So it's a choice. But we just have to be realistic. That happens in life. People fall away.
I'm chuckling because of how in alignment with what you're saying, with what I am experiencing as well. So yay.
Yeah. Okay. Go ahead, Chris.
I kind of wish that I took notes here because I'm going to forget something. The paradox, that's like the closer I find to a paradox, the closer I come to the truth. The closer I find the contradictions of life, the closer I know the truth. But everyone in duality, oh, you're contradicting yourself. You're crazy. Well, the contradiction is the truth. That is the truth. That is the truth. And like here, it's a two-headed dragon. 1, 2, lower self, higher self, lower self, higher self. But we are also the magician. Just on the cloud. Right?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So are you going to breathe the lower fire or the higher fire? Choices.
I love it.
Right. And to go with that, it's like, all right, are we here to the feelings? You're in your feelings. All right. I think I said it last week too. Triggers are pain indicators if you're not healed. But if you're healed, wait. No. If you're unhealed, they're pain points. But if you're healed, they're indicators. So all your trigger me, yes, you know what? And karma is not my job. But the universe, the source, the God, Mother Nature, all of that, sometimes they will use me to provide karma for you. I'm not doing it. It's not my job. But guess what? I'm bringing it that I'm being my authentic self. And my feelings, your feelings. If I really love you, if I love you 100%, and if you love me 100%, hurt me, but hurt me with love, compassion, grace, respect, value me, but hurt me. Because on that hurt, I get to grow. Thank you. Gratitude. And if I don't want to grow, all right, well, so if you triggered me and back to that short circuit last week, check out last week, but back to the short circuit, you got 3 choices. Either you're going to get offensive and attack me, get defensive and block, or you're going to stand back and be the observer and say, wow, I was triggered. Thank you for triggering me. How can I grow? Choices. It's my will. It's my choice to say how I want to do. But so are we? But so many people feel, and it's been trained and programmed to be compassion is respecting other people's feelings and looking out for them. I don't want to make you cry. You know what? If you need to cry. Doing it. It's you're cleansing your soul when you cry. Just like the shower washes your butt. Just like the rain washes the earth. And the rain helps to flow, right? Back to the flow. We want flow, right? So let it out. I'm here to experience all those emotions, energy and motion. I'm here for it all. I got a little passionate there.
No, it's good. And I love that you depicted the magician, the wizard, because isn't that the healer magician? At the end of the day, if we're good practitioners, we can transmute it all. You know, that's it. You know, that's the truth. You know, the dragon comes behind the magician in Chris's depiction with that statue. The dragon's in front of the magician. So, you know, the cleanup crew is the magician, the healer magician. Yeah. I mean, it's like, but shit. And you're right. We're karmically here for each other. We're working with karma. So
but not to be out and be like, "Oh, I'm gonna go get that
no,
person." So it's interesting conversation that I've been having with someone where this person said something that wasn't necessarily triggering, but it brought up a fear aspect of me and like a core thing. And I shared that. I was like, well, stating this brings out a deep fear within me that I'm like not lovable or worthy of love because of a certain thing. And this person was like, I didn't I didn't mean to engage in your fear. And I was like, no, you didn't. And I don't want you to try to hold back from that. I want you to continue to speak exactly what you are feeling in that moment. But I'm I am communicating in a transparent way and allowing you to understand why where my fears are coming from, but to continue to speak in your way. And I will continue to share from an authentic space, and both acknowledging like it is my responsibility to acknowledge the trigger, the emotion, the fear behind it, and also to communicate that and to allow that person to speak their truth as well.
amen. I had that similar experience today, Elaine, when I was talking to someone. When I had somebody confide in me something that I felt intuitively for a long time, and it was confirmed
Mm,
today. And as I was talking to this individual says, "Okay, well, I won't bring this person's name up anymore." I said, "No, please
mm,
do, absolutely, because I need to feel it and process it and be with it, no matter what."
yeah,
That's how I grow. Yeah, so I totally relate to that. So many people wanna that's the thing. A lot of people don't wanna look at it. They don't. They wanna run. They wanna
yeah.
it's like almost like you're pretending it's not gonna happen. Well, I have news for the world.
There's
It's gonna happen again. It may like you said, the clothing may change, the people may
mm,
change, and the same behaviors are gonna happen over and over again. You cannot run from the karmic wheel. You cannot run
mm,
from the experience and from the lessons that you can never deal, make, and deflect or abscond from what is going to continue to happen in order to bring you to a more loving state and understand consciousness more. That's just how it works. We have no, these are immutable laws of the universe. These
mhm.
are universal laws which are immutable, and that will continue to happen, and that resistance will continue. So please do always bring them up. Please do always let's speak. That's why we're in this. That's why I was so unpleasant in the first place, because people didn't want to bring it
Didn't.
up. Nobody wanted
Yes.
to talk about it. Nobody
Nobody
wanted
did.
to hurt Jeremy's feelings. Nobody wanted to actually. But what they didn't realize by saying that was to help me, because my intuition was on all right, and so that would
Yeah.
have me some comfort and not made me feel like I was
It's
going
just
crazy. And I could have processed that because I'm living in a world where everybody else in my life was saying, no, 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 or we don't want to talk about it. We don't want to hurt your feelings. Or like, yes, like Chris says, hurt my feelings. Let me go, let me transmute it. Let me become the
yeah.
magician. But at least let's talk about it so that we can have some authenticity. And everybody in my circle is so afraid to hurt me that they don't want to be honest. And I'm like, that's why I suffered, because nobody was saying what I already knew.
And taking the choice away from you. Like,
Well said. Taking the choice away. It's not your job to handle my feelings and emotions.
yes.
I
Yes.
well said. Yes. Shit.
Yeah.
It's a shit show we live in out there because people are so afraid of her. I'm serious. It's a total shit show.
Yeah, it is a
And
shit show. And
in that
also,
regard, in a loving shit show, but it is. Because we're so afraid to have other people hurting. And it's like, no, sometimes we need people to say what's happening. Period.
well, that's what we're,
Oh,
like learning, right now, because that I have actively participated that in my past, but it's like it's so different and it's so uncomfortable to have this type of, transparent communication and like real, like, oh, they're actually taking ownership of what they're experiencing at this time. Like people don't know that, and it's uncomfortable and like, but it takes for everyone to step into their sovereignty, into their state of being, of owning their experience in order to have that type of connections.
well, yeah, and you know what? The other thing is people are afraid to lose people. So let me give you an example. If
Boom.
you have two people that one person loves both people, and they don't want to, and one is suspicious that there's something happening here, and this one's not going to communicate it, and the other person, the friend in the middle, the triangulation, doesn't want to see the truth come out because they don't want to see these two people go boom or that, and so they try not to say anything that would cause harm and just try to support, love. Maybe somebody will work through it. Like, we're so afraid for the dynamite to go off and for people to end up where they're meant to go. We're so afraid of that. Chris, can you hear us?
Yeah, yeah, I can hear you.
And in that context, we do our friends and others in our lives, or family members or coworkers, a great disservice because we're so afraid. We do each other a great disservice because we're so afraid to have unpleasantries. Sometimes we need goddamn unpleasantries. And so
It's
stop.
part of
I-
life.
Yes, and then no, then we wonder why it takes so long for others to move through an unpleasant experience because nobody's saying it for what it is. Because everybody's so afraid to have combat, war, unpleasantries, irritability. Everybody's so afraid that everything is going to blow up, but in the truth, it's already destroying itself from within. People are hurting inside.
Exploding.
Nobody's communicating, and it just
Yeah.
starts a shit show.
So, all right. So there's some, so we're all right around the same age. We're like 21, right? So, all right. Um, um, so there's a few songs here, and you said TNT, Dynamite, right? All right. So there's a song that's like, you dropped the bomb on me. You dropped the, do it. And then there's this other song that goes, hurt me. Come, like, do it. And I mean, the fear, that's, and like what Jeremy was spot on with everything he said there. And what we're afraid to do that. So many, like, and even in my inner circle, it's like, I even sent out an email. I'm like, and in my email, I was like, ask my feelings. All right. I want the authenticity. I want it to be, because right now, like the email I sent out, I was sending out an email. I set it up my way, but my way be fucking it up. I want to do it the way. I want it to be the way. So correct it. Like, I don't want to hear good job. I know it was a good job. I want it to be the shit though. I want it to be the master way. So change it up. Like, I want like 50 heads on it. Like, all right, tear it up, rip it up, change it up. Say, no, that's what I want. That's the real McCoy. And in doing so, that's what I'm looking for in that. So, and it's very unfortunate that so many people, and even when I have conversations, I think that's one thing with my masculinity that I've been able to help heal a lot of feminine energy, because I don't get, my ego doesn't come out. My ego doesn't come out when those things are, I invite it, like, yes, come on, call me out. And anytime someone calls me out, I'm grateful. I show gratitude. And they're like, what? She's like, what? Yeah, you did that. You put a smile on my face. I might even got a little roused because you called me out, So just different things like that nature, So, and then to rewind it a little farther back, you guys are talking about the shit show. And the shit show, all right, it's a shit show, which I have an analogy on that one too. It's like, all right, so we eat, all right, that vegan steak is not so delicious. I cannot enjoy that without the shit. All right. So without shit, what's the point of all that deliciousness? All right. So now then in doing so, and then even at that, I have this portal and I have that portal, right? I have two portals, and together I make one. All right. But in doing so, that energy goes in, that energy goes out, back to the flow, like we're talking about on the last one. All right. But so I need to keep that flow in, the water flow. I need to rush through my body. They say if you're healthy, if you eat and poop right afterwards, like within 30 minutes, you're a healthy, alkaline individual. But if you don't, if you got to wait another 6 hours to poop, you're messed up. You're messed up, yo. But so that you got another shit show going, right? But all right, so now I'm doing so, but now back to love. All right. You see this beautiful face, right? Yeah, you can love this. You can love my face for face value. But can you love my ass? So, but we all have one. And that ass, what comes out of that ass? Some shit. And we all have it. But so, and guess what? The ones that are the closest to us, those that are closest to us, they're the ones that see our ass the most. But when I look back, I really can't see my ass. I can't see it. I used to maybe back when I was super flexible when I was 19. We're 21, 2 years difference, man. It's a lot harder to stretch now, but either way. So who sees that more than anybody else? The people closest to me. And so in doing so, you get to see my shit at sometimes before I do.
That's why
It's behind me. It's in the back. Behind. It's behind me. So in doing so, and I can't see that. I can't see the back of my head. I can't see my eyelids. I can't see my asshole. I can't see it unless I take a picture.
That's why we need mirrors. That's why we need mirrors. That's why we're here to help each other.
Right.
That's the truth. That's why we need mirrors.
Right. If I didn't wipe my ass good enough, tell me I didn't wipe my ass good enough.
Listen,
please.
You guys,
I want a clean body too.
if you have a 5-gallon, let's slow down. If you have a 5-gallon bucket and you put crap on the bottom of the bucket and you want to clean the bucket out, right? You need more water in, circulation in, more truth, more honesty, more facts, more healthy, real conversation in order to dissipate and break that crap up to get it to flow out. We need to have more communication, no matter if it's painful, because that cleanses, that gives the opportunity for it to agitate, for it to move around and come out. Is that not true? And it's like we sit back and we don't want to cause harm to others because we don't want our friends to have or blood or things that happen, or we don't want to say, I don't want to hurt you. All you're doing is you're that person, that glunk, that crap, that's that situation that people need to move through is still staying there. So
getting confounded.
Yes, so you're not doing it. You're doing a great disservice by not speaking the truth, even though it may be painful, because that can allow others to start to process that which is needed to be processed.
I would like to say, from an objective view, that both sides, all of it, is also perfect.
Yeah, of course. Said fucking That's great.
I just wanted to bring it in, because yes, we need the agitation, and also all of that. The shit show is also perfect as well.
It is.
Yes. And I mean, it's all of the things, and I just wanted to bring that back in, that there's nothing wrong. The mind perceives things as wrong, but that's our mind. And really, in authenticity, in a heart living space, we're speaking from ourselves. And that's all that we, can do. And that's all that we can do. And speaking the agitation to the shit.
And to add to that, it's a perfect shit show. Is that
shit show?
That shit is fertilizer. That fertilizer turns into the apple that I put back in my mouth. Yes. Delicious.
Yes.
That's some delicious apple shit.
Yeah.
All right. That's some delicious. And then on top of that, our grandparents' shit is in my chin, is in my cheek. They help make me from ashes to ash to dust to dust. Oh, man. I am the shit, yo. I am the shit. I am the shit.
We literally
am the shit, yo. All right.
And
yes, we all are the shit. No, right. And in the middle of shit, it's about hi. All right. And I'm just flowing. I'm such a shit. I'm flowing right now. And no ego involved. It's all love shit. Right. But so it was just 3 times. Everything comes in 3. So this morning I was telling my daughter, and I even went to my ex-wife and talked to her about it too. And I was like, so 3 conversations. This is the 3rd one. Now it's being recorded. I was like, all right, dogs, what do? They smell each other's butts. All right. And I was like, you have a good friend. So follow the animals. They will teach us. You have a good friend when we smell each other's butts, and we don't hunt, and we don't bark. If we don't bark at each other, like, ugh. We're like, hey, yeah, so that's the good friends, all right? Because when 2 dogs can smell each other's butts and they're still cool, that's my homie, that's my dog, yo. But sometimes they're like, oh no, I'm the alpha, I'm gonna hump you, or something like that. Now that's not cool. That's not a friendship. That's the bogus shit. All right. And then there's the other one of like, sometimes they just bark because there's two dudes like, no, I'm alpha. No, I'm alpha. Not her. You guys aren't, most of you guys aren't alpha because you guys are trying to claim alpha. If you were really alpha, you'd be just chilling. So,
Well, that'd be a sigma. That's good stuff, Chris.
Yeah, that is really very good
Yeah.
analysis.
Guys,
Yeah.
these podcasts are becoming incredible, and I'm really enjoying them. Like, I'm serious. I love how we've taken so many metaphysical turns and spoke on a lot of different things and talked about flow state. And it's just been really actually incredible and entertaining and many things. And I just want to say thank you guys.
Oh,
my
yeah.
God, hats off.
That's off.
Oh,
Stop it. Just stop
mind's
it.
off, heart's open.
It's a beautiful thing. That's why we have all these options to practice here. We can let go. We can be in our heart. We can choose the lessons. We can choose the passion. We can choose so many things, and it's all beautiful. It's really true. I mean that, and it's wonderful. We've talked about a lot of really human perspectives. We talked about neutrality. Even though we didn't mention the word neutrality once, I think until now, and we talked about duality, and we talked about expression and being authentic, and the unpleasantries that we experience as humans. It's been beautiful.
The mess of it all. It's been
Yeah.
a beautiful dance of
Yes.
human nature and beyond.
Shit
just
show.
it. Yeah,
No,
it is.
it can be.
Yes,
Can be.
it can be. It is. It is. And it is. And it's the perfect shit show, as Chris stated. I wrote it down.
And I'll even add to this. So it's the perfect shit show too. It's like, so when we're all digesting the same thing, it don't stink. It doesn't smell. Even at that, you know what? My shit will stink to you because it's not your shit. But you know what? Whenever we take a shit, it doesn't, after like 10 seconds, it doesn't smell anymore. We can't even smell our own shit. Everyone else can, but if we're all digesting the same thing, there ain't no stink to that shit. That's a perfect shit show because it don't stink no more. That's why those two dogs, when they smell each other, like, hey, you got some good shit, yo. Your shit's cool. I accept you as with your shit. If you can't love my ass, why you love my face?
You're saying the truth, because when we are accountable, honest, and open-minded, and acknowledging our unpleasantries or our behaviors, then the shit it becomes pleasant. I see what you're saying. There's a truth in that, because if everybody can be honest, be accountable, be willing, and really own what the unpleasantries or what our nature, what our rule was, all these things, then the shit does not stink. It truly becomes healthy. It becomes beautiful. And it, well,
Or there's a different perspective.
uh,
I mean, just because it's shit still means it's shit. And, we can be sitting in shit and it's comfortable, but because we don't know other shit, we don't maybe not know that we're sitting in shit.
amen. Hey, you guys ever heard the expression that bees don't explain to flies why honey tastes better than shit?
I haven't, but
Well,
That's the
now
bee's
you-
nest.
It's a business. You guys, it's been a blast. It's been a poopery. I
I got one more on this shitty topic. One more. All right. So as we've been all talking about all this stuff, it's been very intense. There's been some intense moments with this shit, with this poop. All right. And fertilizer. How it fertilized our minds. We've grown, we've beared good fruit here. But and in doing so, in these moments that have been so intense, it's been intestine, the flow in the intestines. We've intensified this flow. Intense.
yes,
In the stomach.
yes, Chris.
Don't they say they can reach like to the moon or to the sun or something like that when they're all stretched out? But something like that. But either way, and what do the intestines do? They take the nutrients out. That's where the nutrition gets pulled out. So anybody that's listening to this podcast, be the intestines on this shit show. Take the nutrition out so that you can have a better shit tomorrow.
Bravo. And Chris, when you said poop, I swear it was spelled P-O-O-H-P, poop. It was just so eloquent. It was like you've changed the alphabet soup in that when you wordsmith that. So thank you guys. All right. Who?
What a
Who?
freaking fascinating conversation.
It has
I'm
been. Has wonderful.
all over to the skies and to the core of shit.
Wonderful.
So, all right. I love you guys. Thank you
Love
so
you
much for
guys.
being here.
Please don't flush. Please don't flush.
Please don't
Mm.
flush.
Leave it for the next person. Leave
All
it for
right.
the next person.
All right. All right. Talk later.
Ciao. Love you. Good night.